Hey, in this video, I'm going to build a full LinkedIn content parasite system right in front of you that takes our competitors on LinkedIn. It scrapes all their LinkedIn posts, and then we use AI to check whether those posts are relevant for our target audience. Then we actually use another AI to rewrite the post in our tone of voice before adding it to our Google Sheet database. Now, this is great for any kind of person that does content on LinkedIn, because now you can use the top accounts in the world or even your competitors to get ideas and also get inspiration when making your own content. Now, in case it's your first time here, my name is Michele, and just over the past 12 months, I've helped over 40 businesses implement these sort of AI solutions and taught over 20,000 people in the process, all starting with zero technical knowledge. So I'm gonna build everything step by step, and if you stick around until the end, I'll even show you how you can get the whole system for free. With that being said, let's dive in. All right, so I'm gonna run this from scratch. I can press execute workflow. The first step is actually having a list of accounts. So in this case, we have two accounts, my account and someone else's, to test. And then we go to Apify, which is a place where we actually extract the posts from the LinkedIn profiles. And you can see here, it just finished running. And once it scrapes the post, in this case, it found 11. It then goes through all the 11 posts at the same time. It checks whether the posts are relevant for our target audience. If they are, then we send it to Claude to rewrite the posts using our tone of voice and some rules and guidelines that I gave it before adding it to our Google Sheet database, which is the one right here, where we have all the different 7 posts with the username, with the post URL. Each post has a URL, the original post text, and the rewritten post, plus the number of likes and the number of comments as well. All right, so as always, before we build the actual system, we're gonna break it down step by step so we can see it before we build it. So every automation that we build, literally everything, has an input, input, and has an output, right? Everything that you do has an input and has an output. And between the input and the output, there are a series of steps. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. And so the input in this case would be LinkedIn accounts, okay? Because a parasite system is basically like the outcome of this. It's saying, hey, I want more content ideas, or I want some sort of inspiration from other creators on LinkedIn. Let's say we go inside my profile here, and I'll be able to see all my posts that I'm done, and I'm able to actually extract them. In this case, it would be someone else's profile, right? I'm able to extract them so I can then use it as inspiration or as ideas for my own content. And if you're thinking, well, this is not fair. Well, I mean, a lot of creators do this exact thing. We use each other's as inspiration, and then we brand it or we position it as our own and for our target audience. So with that said, we have LinkedIn accounts, and now I have to think through, how do I want to start the automation? Because there's 2 different ways that you could do it. There's actually a lot of ways, but you could have a form and let the form actually have like 2 variables, which is like, what are the LinkedIn accounts that you want to scrape, which we actually could do, to be honest. I didn't actually do it in the demo, but we could actually do it. So using a form, and the 2 things that the form asks you is, what is the first account that you want to scrape, and what is the second account? Now, I'm only going to use 2 accounts as an example, but you could obviously use more. And what we do here is, after we get the LinkedIn account, we obviously want to scrape their LinkedIn posts. So scrape, I guess, most recent 10 LinkedIn posts. Most recent 10 posts. And then what we do here is we use AI to check relevance, because of course not every post that our competitor make is relevant to us, although they are a competitor, so there's a reason why. But we use AI to check the relevance, and then if it's relevant, put this here, we rewrite post using our tone of voice. Tone of voice just means, how do I speak? What's my vibe and so on. And then we send it to the output, which is a database. When you hear database, it just means a Google Sheet with all details of post. But I have to put use AI to check the relevance, and this would be if relevant. If relevant. That's way too big. All right, so LinkedIn accounts. So we have all the LinkedIn accounts that we want to use. Then we want to scrape their post, and scrape just means that we go inside LinkedIn, we extract the text of their post to then give it to AI to check the relevance. So whether it's relevant for our target audience. If it's relevant, then only do we send it through to the next AI to rewrite their posts, rewrite their post using our tone of voice, and before adding it to our Google Sheet database. Pretty simple. So let's do it. So let's go to n8n. Let's open it up, and always keep this as a plan of action. I usually go and build step by step, and then I go here and I put it to green, because it helps me keep on track of what I have to do. So first one is LinkedIn account. So as I mentioned, we can use a form. So if you don't know, n8n actually has their own native forms, which means that I don't have to make a type form, or I don't have to go to any outside software to be able to make a form. I can just make a form here using this node. And then we have the authentication. So this is basically saying, hey, do you want a password? In this case, it's no password. Here we have the test URL, which is a link that we use when we're testing. And then when we have to turn this to active, we actually change this to production URL. Quick hack. And then authentication is basically saying, hey, do you want any password for anybody using the form? In this case, it's not that deep. So we actually don't want any password. And then the form title can be LinkedIn accounts. Please add 2 LinkedIn accounts of your favorite creators to then be able to scrape their posts. There we go. And then form elements is basically adding the questions. So the first question is LinkedIn account number 1 URL, and then LinkedIn account number 2, and make this both required. And now if I press execute step, this will now take me to the actual form, LinkedIn account number 1 and 2. And if I go to LinkedIn here, I can copy my URL, paste it here, and I can copy, let's do, I don't know who he is. Let's do him. And then we go here. Let me delete everything after the question mark is actually not something that we need. So delete this, and I'm going to press submit. So now we have the first LinkedIn account and the second LinkedIn account. And in schema, I can actually see that I have both right here. So that's a thought process, right? We have the form, which we're going to use. And in this case, actually, I used Jordan someone, I don't know who he is, but I should probably be using someone in the AI space because that's my target audience. So let me do one of my boys, Matthew Khan. If you're watching this, you're a legend. I can go here and replace this, unpin, replace this with Matthew Khan, and then I put my profile. There we go, submit. All right, pin, and here we have LinkedIn accounts, LinkedIn accounts. There we go. So first step is done. So we have the LinkedIn accounts that someone would just fill out to start the automation. So I can say, hey, I want to analyze the post of James, right? You go to LinkedIn and you put James here, right? And typically we ask for 2, so you just put 2 in this case. What we could also do is, in case you only want to put 1, then make them not required. So you can just put 1, and then we filter, and then we can switch the automation saying, hey, if you only put 1 URL, you can go here. If you put 2, then you go the other way, right? Because obviously the way that we scrape is different based on the amount of accounts that we have. But in this case, to make it simple, we just leave it like this. So LinkedIn accounts, and then to be able for us to scrape LinkedIn posts, we actually use a software called Apify.com. If you have not used Apify, then starting today, you will be using it because it is one of the most powerful softwares for scraping. And the way that I would describe Apify is sort of like the Amazon for scrapers. Let's say you get to Amazon and you find all these products, right? And the products here are a way for us to scrape TikTok, scrape Google Maps, which means that we have some sort of code in the backend that goes to Google Maps and extracts all the details about whatever it is that we need to search. Same with Instagram, Facebook, Amazon, website, and a bunch more other stuff. We have about 7,000 actors. Each actor is sort of like a scraper, not something that we have to worry about. But when you make an account, you do get $5 of free credits. As you can see, I already used 155. And now if I go to Apify store, I can now look for the product. Now the product, or we call it scraper in Apify, that I want is a LinkedIn post scraper. Now, just like you would in Amazon, we have about 725 products. So of course, we're not gonna go and use each one, but we take the ones that are top here and we just look at a few things. So I'm gonna open them up. Here I have these open here. There we go. And this one. And typically what I do is I go here and I look at the pricing model and I look at some other things. So in this case, the pricing model, $30 per month plus usage, not what we want to do because we have to pay $30 a month plus use it, right? Which is a bit too expensive. Plus it's asking us for a cookie, which means that we need to give it the cookie for our own account, which is not safe. So I'm going to discard this. The next one here is no cookies, $5 for 1,000 results. Okay. And we can give it the profile username or URL, but it only gives us the option to put 1 username, which is a bit restrictive. The next one here, same one, $5, 1,000 results. This is company post. So we don't want this. We want profile post. Then we have $5 for 1,000 credits and we search by keyword. I wouldn't want to search by keyword because we're actually searching by the account URL. So this is out. Then we have this LinkedIn post scraper, no cookies, $2 per 1,000 posts, which is exactly the one that I used. As you can see here, I was already testing with my URL and his URL. And we do this because it gives us the option to give it source URL, which is the URL of the LinkedIn account. And we can add more. And it's asking us how many posts do you want to extract per source, per URL, per account, which is great. So $2 for 1,000 posts is better than obviously $5 for 1,000 posts. Plus it only gives us the option to extract 1. So this is out and this is out as well. too expensive. So now that we have this LinkedIn post scraper, we have to set it up, right? Now there's two different ways that you can run Apify, right? The first one is going inside Apify and actually manually putting the URLs. So when you run this, you can then have the output that looks like this, which is the author name, the author profile picture, the profile URL, and a bunch more other things that you want to know about the actual person. And then you can obviously export as a CSV and do whatever. Or the one that we want to use is within our automations. So if you go to input, we want to go to JSON because the JSON thing is the one that we use to be able to give it to our scraper inside our automation to be able to do its thing. Now, if that's sounding complex or if you're a bit lost here, just bear with me. It's actually much easier than you think. But the first step we want to do is go to our workflow here. I can then press add and I can look for Apify. Now, we want to choose the one that says run an actor and get dataset because we're basically sending a signal to Apify and saying, hey, can you scrape the posts of these profiles? And then we're actually waiting for the data to come back, which is exactly what we want. And the first step that we need to do is go here, create a new credential, and then you can connect your account by pressing this. Make sure that is the right account. Just press on the account and you will go to authorize it. It'll be successful. And then when you have it, you will be able to have the connection here. The resource, which is what is the thing that we're using, is actor. The action that we're taking is run an actor and get dataset. And then the act source will be recently used actors. And now for the actor, it's asking us, hey, which actor do we want to use? In this case, we want to use the LinkedIn post scraper, no cookies, $2 per 1,000 posts. Now, if you don't see this here, that means you haven't run this in Apify. So in order for you to see it there, you have to go here, just add one URL or two URLs, whatever it is, and then press save and start. When you press save and start, it will actually run for the first time. So your account will recognize that this was recently used. So again, we ran this in Apify and now we have to give it the input JSON. Now the input JSON will be the JSON that we can get here, which is the thing that we give our workflow. Just delete this and then paste this here. And by the way, if you don't know what JSON is at all, just check out this video up here. It will give you a much better overview. But essentially it's the language of computers. It's the way that we communicate back and forth with softwares to say, hey, can you do this? And they say, yes, we can do it. Right? Basically, that's what it is. And then leave this memory as 1024. Timeout is fine. Build tag is fine. And now let's actually test this. So we're scraping right now my profile and Matthew, and we're saying that we want 10 posts per profile. Yeah, cool. So if I press execute step, what this will now do, as you can see in runs, it's going to run the actual actor, right? We didn't actually go into the platform itself. We're running it through our automation. As you can see here, we're getting the result, limit per source reach for URL. And now the output should be 20 posts. It should be 20. Yeah, there you go, 20. 10 of me and 10 of him. If I go back here, I can see that now I have 20 items, which is a 20 post. Go to table, put the smaller so I can see everyone. And if I go to username, there we go. Matthew Con, Chris, I think that's Matthew's friend, I assume. And so we have 10 of me and 10 of him, which is great. And now with these posts, we want to go to the next steps. And now we have successfully run the scraper just within our automation, without us having to go to Apify. Now, one important thing that we want to do is I don't want to be able to have to go inside this JSON in order to change the profiles. Now, one more thing that we want to do before going to the next steps is getting these profile URLs and pushing them here. Because right now it's manual. So if I run this every single time, it will use the exact same profiles. But if I change the profiles on the form, then we want to dynamically change it on the actual actor. So I can go here, delete this. And now if I go full screen, wrong one, expression, there we go. I can add the URL number one inside here, and I can add the URL of the second account in the one here. And by the way, this is what you call an array, a list of items, item one, item two. And if I wanted to, I could also do item three. I could also do another LinkedIn account. One more thing that we can actually ask in the form as well is how many posts do you want to scrape per profile? If I go back here, I can unpin this. I can ask number of posts per profile. And this can be a number. There we go, required. So if I execute step, this will be HTTPS. Actually, let me just do the URL. Where's Matthew? Go here and paste it. Number of posts can be 10. Submit. So we're giving the user more flexibility in the things that we want or they want. And now if I actually run this with this data, it will use the variables. If I go to runs, I can see here that it's running once again. And the output will be 20 posts. And if I go back here to my automation, I can see that I have 20 posts right here, just like we want them, which is perfect. All right, with that said, now we can go to the next steps. So I can pin this, so I don't have to do this again later on. And the second step is finished. now we get on to using AI to check the relevance. So what we want to do here is press plus, and we ideally want to use the loop over items before we go to the next step. Why do we do this? Is because the loop over items is saying, hey, I'm only going to let 5 items through at once, right? To not overwhelm AI, just to let 5 items through. And then once the 5 items are finished with the whole flow, then it goes back to the next 5 items until it finishes all 20. Now, the reason we do this is because under loop, OpenAI, and I'm basically giving AI a task, right? But we don't want to give AI a task 20 at a time because it can overwhelm, it can get overloaded. That's what we call it. It can overload in the amount of information that goes inside the AI, which is why we want to send only X amount of items at once. So this can be relevant event here. And if I go inside, I can see that I have to connect my OpenAI. To do this, you can go to platform.openai.com. You can go to dashboard. You can go to API keys and create a key right here on the top right. Well, my Wi-Fi works right here. And then bring it back and you can connect it here. Once you've done that, now you can do text, message a model. The model in this case would be 4.1 mini, which is the one that we can use. And we want to give it 2 different types of prompts. The first prompt is a system and the second prompt is a user. Where is it? User. There we go. Now, the reason why we give it a system and a user is because a system prompt is giving the AI an identity. So you are a helpful, intelligent XYZ assistant. The user prompt is giving the AI the instructions. And so I already built a prompt for this. I'm going to copy and paste it, full screen. And I said, you are a helpful, precise LinkedIn post classifier for an AI focused audience, people who build with AI or want to learn AI, understand cool news that come out of it and that actually strike an interesting take. So it knows that it is that thing. And then for the user prompt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it this. I'm going to say, go full screen. Classify a LinkedIn post for an automation focused audience. Return only verdict, relevant or not relevant. Relevant if it's valuable advice for someone looking to start an AI agency, because that is the content that I post. Not relevant if it's motivational, personal, non-automation coding, crypto, politics, finance, or tool discounts, etc., or vague hype with no build and impact. Output valid JSON only. Verdict, relevant or not relevant. When you see me saying, hey, output the actual thing as JSON, is because I just wanted to give me the JSON output. I wanted to give me a variable that I can use. And the variable literally is just a word, which is much easier for us to use in the next steps. And now we want to add a new user message as well. And the user message would be, here is the LinkedIn post to analyze, right? Because obviously we're saying, hey, analyze the LinkedIn post. And finally, we actually give it the LinkedIn post, which you can find under Apify, the text right here. There we go. And this is one of the previous posts that I've made. After closing 100K in deals for my AI automation agency, I realized one thing. Sales success comes down to feedback. You can't improve what you don't measure. Oof, that's some good copywriting, man. And now I also want to output the content as JSON. There is a problem because usually it does actually give me it's like a button here that says output content as JSON. But I believe that I also have it here. Instructions, prompt, reasoning. Okay, output format, JSON or JSON object. I think this will only send 5. Yeah, this will send 5 over. And this should give me relevant, not relevant for the 5 different posts. So I got relevant, not relevant, relevant. Okay, cool. So it worked. There we go. Verdict. So now I can use this in the next steps, right? So I mentioned that here I said, okay, so if it's relevant, then we send it to the next step. Now, in order for us to do that, we have to put something called a filter. So I can go here to filter and I can say, hey, if the verdict equals to relevant, then we send it through. So if I pin this and I can execute this, I can see that 4 items went through out of 5, which means that out of the 5 posts that we give it, AI said only these 4 are relevant for your target audience, which is not bad. And as you start to scale this, so as you start to pull like thousands of posts at once, it is very, very important that you only send the ones that are relevant, because then you'll have a Google Sheet full of useless posts that you don't want to use. So now that we have this, the next step is actually rewriting the post using our tone of voice. So now instead of using OpenAI, we use Claude. Now Claude is something that we use when we want to make content because it is better at making content. So to use Claude, go here, create a new credential, and then you have to get an API key, which you can find at Anthropic console, and then log in with your account, continue, and you should be able to see the API key, which will show up here. Get an API key, create a key, and then create the actual key, which you can paste back here. Bear in mind, this is not free. So go to billing and add some money here that you can use for your account. Once you have this connected, then you can do text, message a model. The model itself can be 3.5 Haiku. So I can go here, and it really depends on what kind of things you are doing. Haiku is pretty good. 3.5 is pretty fast. So we're looking for quality and speed at the same time. And now for the user prompt, I'm going to give it this. Let me go full screen. I'm going to say overview. So you are a helpful, intelligent writing assistant. You have to rewrite the LinkedIn post that I'm going to give you in a way that encapsulates the original theme, but uses different words. I'm targeting an audience that are people who want to build with or want to learn AI. They are always fascinated by new discoveries or news that actually make an impact. My results, over the last year, I've generated over 6 figures, worked with over 40 businesses, and taught over 20,000 people in the process. 20,000. And I've got to do a bunch of fun stuff like travel, enjoy my life, etc. The rules is use a no fluff, young tone when rewriting the LinkedIn post. Only output the LinkedIn post and that's it. Now, I cannot stress the actual importance of making your LinkedIn post sound like you, right? A lot of you guys use AI, which is great, but at the same time, just make it sound like you. As if you're reading the post and it's not something that you would actually say, then don't post it because it's not you. Now that we have this, we can go to the next step, which is adding another user prompt, which I believe is the actual LinkedIn post to rewrite. So I can add a message and then we can say, here is the LinkedIn post to rewrite. And we can find this back here, text. I think that's it, I believe. So now I can execute step and it should now give me the actual post that we can use, which we can add to our database. Now, prompting is the most important part of the system because the better the prompt is, the better the output is. So let's look at the input and the output. So let's say after closing 100K in deals with my AI automation agency, I realized one thing. Okay, cool. After crushing 100K in AI deals, here's a real game changer. Sales growth is all about brutal honesty. Can't level up without tracking your moves. So I built an AI sales wingman that the thing is it's hard because I'm using my own post and this is what I would sound like, right? But assuming that you will use someone else's post. So let's say you can obviously prompt it in a way where it sounds more like you. And this will all be here. So use a no fluff, young tone when rewriting the LinkedIn post. Don't sound robotic, sound human and young. I say young twice, so it knows. I realized that when you put young to AI, it starts using slang like bro, what's up, yo, which is typically how I speak in my content. Okay, and now that we have the post, let me just pin this. And now I can make my database that I can store all the posts inside. I can store the author, the date of the post, the original post URL, the original post text, which is the one right here, and the number of likes, and I believe number of comments. That's it. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so here we have to go to Google Sheets. So sheets.new. And here we want to put date. Let's put the author. Then we put, or actually creator. We put the post URL, the original post text, the new, so rewritten post text. And then I believe that we do likes, comments, and then freeze up to row 1. Cool. Let me space this out a bit too much. Let me make this dark and then white. There's some formatting I like to use for my Google Sheets. And then make this like this. Cool. Now that we have this, we can start adding the information in. So let me go inside n8n. I can go to sheets.new. I can go to append a row, which is basically adding a row. They could have just made it easier and just called it added. Resource will be to connect your account. You have to go here, sign in with Google, and you can do the whole shebang of signing in with your account. The resource, which is what is the thing that we're using, is a sheet within a document, because again, we're using a sheet within a document. And the operation, which is what is the action that we're doing, is append a row, adding a row. This can be, well, let's call this LinkedIn parasite. There we go. If I go here, let me actually save and refresh because I just changed the name. So it should give it to us. We'll go inside here, LinkedIn parasite. There we go. See, we just activated for no reason. Okay, we have LinkedIn parasite. Then we have the sheet, which is sheet 1. Now we have the different variables. So the date is something that we can get all the way down here. There we go. Posted at ISO. So this is in the ISO format. It's just the way that you format the date. But if I pull it through, I can do something interesting. So it says unpin node, message model, and execute. Oh man, I think we're gonna have to unpin this, and this to run. Let's just try it out. Sometimes it does this, I don't know why, where it doesn't let me add the data here because it says this is pinned. But I think it's just something within n8n. I'm still learning, guys. I am still learning. So we have this here. So 4 items went through. We're now rewriting the post in n8n. And now we should be able to see the different variables that come through. Now, the only reason why Claude takes a bit longer is just because of the nature of the actual task. When it makes new LinkedIn posts, obviously there's more energy required for the actual task. But if I go inside, now I can see the actual date. Now, the cool thing that I was telling you about is actually making this readable by a normal human. Because when I look at this, I don't instinctively know what date it actually is. And just watch this, watch how it changes. At the end of this, I can put dot, today time, dot, format, and I can put DDD. So now it looks like 15th of November. And then the creator itself, let me go down here. Let me go to comments, reactions, author name, easier. Author name, post URL, which you can find right here. Original post text, which you can find right here. Rewritten post, which you can find up here. Number of likes, which you can find, number of likes. And then number of comments, which you can find right here. So now in theory, we'll see if it works. No, I should be able to add the information. It's gonna start again, go through all the way, and then add it back to our Google Sheet. Now, one thing we wanna do is then drag this all the way back here, because that's how the loop over items works. It's a whole loop until it actually finishes the 20 items. So I can go here, append row in a sheet, and I should be able to see the different posts that have come up. So let me just format this in a way that I actually can read it. Let me do this, cool. So I can see the date, the creator, post URL, which is my post URL. That's a horrible picture there. This is the post, this is the text, which isn't great actually as a post, but that's what it is. A friend of mine joined the program. Forget goal outreach, forget content. Okay, cool. We have my original post, rewritten post. So I rewrote it in my tone of voice, although this was my account in the first place. Then we have likes, and then we have comments as well. So this post, for example, got 3,670 comments. It's one of the posts that we made recently. It was a lead magnet giving away the 12-hour course that we made on YouTube, which is great. And now we can run this from scratch with a bit more data. I can press save. And now let's run this from scratch here. I can press execute workflow, and let me actually send 10 at a time because it's a bit too few. Execute workflow, I can put the LinkedIn URL, which is Matthew Kahn. I can put my LinkedIn URL. Here we go. Then we have number of posts per profile. Let's do 30. I can press submit, and this will now send it through to the actor. If I go here, I can see that it is running. If I go to runs, I can see the actor is currently on, and it's scraping the post from LinkedIn. It just finished, so it sent 10 through at a time. Then now it's using AI to check the relevance, which is again, is this relevant or is this not relevant? Then it found that out of 10, 5 were relevant, which is not that good, to be honest. I mean, it's not bad because at least we get only the good ones. And then using Claude to be able to rewrite the post before adding it to our Google Sheet database. And then it actually goes back here. Well, in this case, it only does it twice because we only have 20 and only 10 are sent through once. I go here, I should be able to see the new posts that are being added. Matthew Kahn, we just ran a reactivation campaign and got a 6.7 booking rate. You're crushing it, man. This guy's crushing it, which is great. Rewritten posts, cool. Likes, comments. So mine also as well, out of 10, only 5 went through. And now you should be able to see my posts that are coming through. He's a founder of a voice agent agency. He's absolutely crushing the game. And his content is mainly around voice agents. So I think that's why, because my content is more so AI automation related. Matthew, if you're watching this, man, you got to get your numbers up. What's going on? And the rewritten post is going to be like this. Real talk, who's actually serious about AI voice? I dropped my free voice agent vault 5 months ago and something interesting comment. And here I have the rewritten post. After crushing 100K in AI agency deals, here's a real game changer. Sales success is all about honest feedback. Can level up if you're not tracking your moves. So I built an AI sales system, sales coach that auto transcribes every call. I think the prompt is pretty good. I would have to try this with another account that's bigger. I think there's a guy on LinkedIn which is AI. He does AI content. He's pretty good. Mantal. There he is. There he is. The legend. Yeah, his content's pretty good. He does a bunch of AI content. Yeah, he's crazy on LinkedIn. So let's use this account. I think that will be better, more realistic, rather than using my own. So his account, and let's use someone else's account. Who do I know that does AI content? Let's go here, and I can actually use Matthew's account now, as long as I don't use mine, so I can see the actual change in tone. I can go here, put this, and let's just do 10. Submit. Let's run this from scratch. Because obviously, it wouldn't be realistic that you'd be using your own, right? Because ideally, you want to rewrite someone else's content, not yours. So we're using Apify here. So Apify is currently running. It just finished. Now we're going to send 10 items through. 10 out of 10 are relevant, perfect. Because his content is mainly about AI. Not mainly, it is all about AI automation, which is aligned with my audience and which is you guys. All right, so I just finished scraping his post and it added it here. There we go. All right, let's use this. If you build AI voice agents, you need to know the 6-layer tech stack. AI voice agents are evolving fast, opening up any opportunities for the new paradigm of customer interaction. In today's world, Businesses still use scripted IVRs, menus, and static call flows that frustrate customers and waste time. Okay, let me go. Voice orchestration platform, start with retail, choose your LLM brain, add voice, integrate tools. Okay, and let's see how it did it on my end. First of all, I don't know why it's using emojis before, so we can actually prompt it not to. I don't like how it uses the questions. It's like a rhetorical question. When someone uses a rhetorical question, you know they're using AI, because obviously a human wouldn't write a rhetorical question. Voice orchestration your brain, give it a voice, connect everything. I like this part, to be honest. I like this part. So I can actually go inside here. And if you don't like something, then you can obviously say, do not use rhetorical questions. And by giving it the change of the prompt, obviously the better the input, the better the output. So it really depends on what you have on the prompt. And one more thing that you could do is actually using the Parasite system as ideas, right? In this case, we're just rewriting the post of someone else, which is okay, to be honest, because you can use it as inspiration. But we could also add one idea to the left, not one idea, one column to the left. And this would be, let me make this white. This would just be a column where we add the idea of the post. So we can see the idea, and if we like the idea, then we can actually look at the post to make, which is better considering that we will have the idea plus the actual rewritten post to take into account to then be able to post it in our own profile. All right, and if you want the full system, then check out the second link down below. You can find it in my free school community. You can go to the classroom section and then you can go to the templates vault here. Disclaimer is that not everybody gets in. So please put some thoughts into your answers and I'll see you on the inside. And if you are a 9 to 5 working professional and you want to start and scale your AI agency to 10 and even 40K a month or more, then check the first link down below, which is a one-to-one mentorship program where you get to work with me one-to-one to properly start your agency from day one. And if you like this video, then check out this video on the screen where I show you how I build a full Instagram Parasite system from scratch. With that being said, I hope you found value from this video and I'll see you in the next one.